Okay, so this will be the first video of Flea's 130-gallon reef tank in its infancies. Figured I'd do a quick video here to go through, for my reference, how this thing's set up, or for anyone else who's curious to know how it's set up. It's a 130-gallon, 5 foot, between 8-inch tall and 18-inch deep. And I guess we'll just start with the top and work our way down. Our lighting is the Radeon X30Ws, two of those guys. As you can see, we've already got our water. Our cycle is done, or at the end of its cycle, and ready for more fish and corals to begin. If we go to the bottom, our sump. We've got 4 stages down here. We've got a small first stage that is where our main tank drains are coming. Our filter socks into our second stage, which is our ASM G4 Plus skimmer, modified to let the water flow back into a sock on the first stage to trap any of the micro bubbles, as well as the vertical adjustment, which flows into our third stage, which right now the third stage is just empty. It can be used for either a timeout tank or a refugium, or for other media, some live rock or some pond matrix, or it could be used for possibly even a small frag area. And this flows into our fourth stage, which is where our heater is, and our Mag 12 for our return, which is already plumbed for some additional reactors as needed once we get our corals going and start monitoring our other levels. So as we come around the back, actually before we come around the back, you can see our circulation, which is the MagSpec Gyre 150. Fabulous circulation pump. Does a wonderful job. Can't wait to get some corals in here to see how they're going to like that. Back in behind the tank, we have our standby water change tank here, which has 10 gallons of pre-made salt water already mixed, and thermometer, thermostat, heater, all in there, keeping that guy at 78. Underneath there we have our AquaFX Barracuda Rody system, and that is plumbed with a solenoid that goes down to the 5-gallon reservoir for the top off of the sump. And the top off is controlled by a little JBJ ATO, at which whenever the sump float switch triggers, the JBJ will pull water out of the reserve, and when the reserve gets low, it will trigger that solenoid, which will keep the reserve topped off. We also have our heater controller and our pH monitor, as well as an air silencer back there for the skimmer, and rest of the back is all just strictly electronics and everything. Our control, our transformers for the radions, the Ecotech Marine radions. Our 12-volt supplies to run the solenoid and the LED lights which light up the sump. And our UPSs, one for our pump, our return pump, and one for the lighting, just in case we lose power for any extended period. If it gets beyond 2 hours, then we'll crank the generator up. And we've got our return coming into a dual line on each side. Eventually we will add a second smaller pump and an overflow as a backup to this. So once again, coming around the front one more time. There she is. Quite a bit of work and effort getting this thing ready. It's been just over 3 weeks now since we put water in it, and live rock and live sand. Been monitoring all the levels. Everything seems to be right, and I think it's time to grab a little cleanup crew and a couple extra fish and maybe a couple light-in corals and see where she goes. And we'll be updating videos as they come available. Thank you.